Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How are you? We meet again one more day to connect with the root chakra in the physical week of Capricorn. We are really close to end Capricorn. So take a deep breath and relax. Just 3 more days. 3 more days of structures and systems. So let's go into the topic for today, which is agriculture related to the root chakra of society. Of course, that for the day of the root chakra, we needed to connect with the roots. So the agriculture to connect with the roots of the world, to create very deep roots in the ground, and to come back to the depth of our earth. As always, of course, we will begin by the understanding of the origin of what is agriculture. So the etymology of the word, because it's important to know the origin of the concept of this agriculture, because when we speak about the spiritual act of agriculture, we all kind of feel this connection with the planet and so on. But when we speak about the system of agriculture, we usually politicize this, or we talk about the companies that are doing modifications in the DNA of the seeds and so on, and it's really a heavy issue to discuss. But let's try to understand what this system really means. Okay, the word agriculture is composed by the word culture and ager. Culture is what we have seen yesterday, so you already know the culture is very related to the agriculture, but in a spiritual way, in the way of creativity. So the culture is related to the spirit, which is the seed, and the seed watered by the water. Okay, in the soul with emotions, and from the body it takes the nutrients, the minerals, to grow as a plant. Okay, so a culture is how the spirit manifests itself in this dimension, in this terrain, which is the third dimension. So that's the culture, the expression of the spirit through our life. But here comes then the agriculture. Agriculture has this other ager that means terrain, means land, soil. That's what it means. So ager is the one that in Greek we used to call ageia. Ageia is all the lands together. Okay, all the lands. And in spirituality, the concept of ageia was called Gaia. Gaia is the way in which the Greek people used to call the divine aspect of the earth. That's why we have the word Gaia to describe the earth. Egypt also, we had the concept of Geb, which is the same etymology, relates to the divinity of the earth. And this concept of Gaia is the one that gives the origin of Gaia. So Gaia is the name of the spirit of the earth. So the earth, Gaia, spirit called Gaia, hmm, which is exactly the same name but with a different sounding. Hmm. So we in the world speak a lot about what is Gaia. Okay, we are connected to Gaia, the spirit of Gaia, etc. But what is Gaia? Gaia is just the spiritual aspect of Gaia. And what is Gaia? Is the land, which is Ager. So agriculture is related to the concept of the culture of the ground, of the soil. Hmm? So the word agriculture is composed by land, agri, and culture, which is cycle of moving from one house to another. Remember that yesterday we were talking about how culture is related to changing from one house to another house, according to the astrology. So from that point, we can understand that these cycles now are related to the ground, to the earth, the soil, ager. So agriculture is describing the cycles of land, which we could, for example, spring, summer, autumn, winter, and of course, when is the time of sowing, when is the time of growing, and when is the time of harvesting. All the beings that needs to eat are related to agriculture because we are all related to the cycles of the earth. But animals are related to the cycles of the earth being by the cycles of the earth. This means that when the cycles change from one season to another, the animals must adapt to that cycle. But humans got the tools to be able to take that information of the time and rule the time, knowing what is going to come. So that's why we created cultures through the agriculture. All because we needed to eat, because we are related to the ground, to the earth. So this means that everything that we are, our civilizations, languages, our religions, our philosophies, everything that we are, that we have today, is related to the adaptation of humans to the cycles of the earth. So this is agriculture. So this is why what we are doing as humans is trying to survive. Everything that we are, that we create, is because we need to eat to survive in this planet. This is why the basis of everything that we have created is agriculture. The reason why this concept is related to the root chakra is because this is the root of the whole civilization, of the whole history of who we are. The root chakra is the agriculture because it allows the fruit of the culture to grow. And the culture is the one that creates the tools that we have, technology, the arts. And this art is the one that creates our economy at home. And from the economy, we create the teaching, the sharing, the abilities that helps us to organize in a political way. And this politics is the one that creates the religion. And this is why the roots of all the system of our civilization is what we eat, our relationship with the ground, the earth. So let's go first of all to understand the first relationship that we had with agriculture. At the beginning of our humanity, which was more hominids, we were not using agriculture to eat, but agriculture was using us. And how is this? That the cycles were pushing us to live according to the seasons. We were not handling the agriculture. The agriculture was just pushing us according to what was happening outside. So we were living in the forest. We were harvesting the harvest. No, we were recollecting fruits and vegetables. We weren't hunting. We were just tiny groups trying to survive in between the savanna forest. So because we were so weak, we needed to protect ourselves so other animals wouldn't find ourselves by the smelling. Hmm? Um, so that's why humans used to put mud all over the body, to cover all the body with mud. So so any animal could smell us, and we also were like it was like a camouflage, um, and uh, and of course the insects wouldn't bite us. Hmm? Because of this, covered on the mud, the tradition used to call ourselves like the people that comes from the wet land, covered on land. And this story is the one that started to make us be called like the people of clay, made up of clay. This is a tradition that the religions then say we were made at the image of the gods with clay, with mud, wet land, soil. And so, sorry to take all this maybe spiritual beliefs of how the gods from the sky created us with shapes and so on, but really the reason we were made of mud is because we were covered on mud during the first thousands of years, trying to protect ourselves from the animals that would kill us. Hmm? So that's why the tradition kept saying that we were the people made of clay, and that's and wet land, in mud, in Latin you may say humus. So humus is the humidity, okay, the land that is wet, humidity. So we are humans. Humans means wet land because of this, because we were people covered on mud. So through long periods of time, we started to know how to handle the mud, not only to cover ourselves, to protect ourselves, but also to make jars, basins, to make to make some tools, to make um, uh, some tablets to to write with clay. So we were not only using the clay to protect ourselves, but we were using it to storage water, to storage seeds, materials, doing many things. And that's why that was the moment when we stopped being used by the agriculture and we started to use agriculture. So the next step was start to create sedentarism. How? We created houses of mud. So this earth was used to create houses, and then to create farms, and to they use it to sow the seeds and to harvest the fruits. So we started to create sedentarism through the mud. So this all this culture started to use the mud, um, the wetland for everything in their daily lives. That's why we were called the humans, the people of mud. Mud. So something that is important to understand here is that the first thing that we started to to make grow were tiny little seeds and fruits that we were able to eat. But sometimes these fruits started to have malformations, and these malformations were like genetical uh, deformations of the fruits or the grains, and suddenly sometimes there were many more grains in one fruit, or many or the size was bigger. So what they started to do was to take some of these fruits and the seeds, and they only reproduce those of them, and they started to cross one another. So they started to create bigger fruits or with other flavors and so on. So for thousands of years, humans were doing genetical deformations and manipulations of the food through thousands of years. So all the fruits and food that you eat today has been, all of them, touched by humans for thousands of years, and that's why you have as big. Like the tomatoes, for example, they were just tiny like this, and because of this transformation, we were using the genetics, were getting bigger. um, and that's why today we have big tomatoes. So what the people is doing now with biotechnology, for example, is something natural for humans for thousands of years. It's not something for today. The only thing that happened today is that instead of just crossing plants or doing it for a family, they are doing it for a whole company, and going straight to the genetics of the seed. That's the only difference. It's a huge difference, but the essence is the same on this for thousands of years. So as we were looking into the sky to understand when to sow something, when to harvest something, we started to create the idea of the divinity helping us to do so. So that's why we started to create these cultures with ceremonies, asking for the gods to help us to do this. So the religions comes, and the organization and the economy and so on, that we have spoken in all the previous videos. So imagine what happened at one point. Suddenly, we just discovered that agriculture is not ruling us, that we are agriculture. So we suddenly realized that we were able to handle the earth, to handle everything around, to manipulate. So by this, a lot of people started to ask themselves, maybe we are not from the earth. Maybe we are from the divine, the divinity on the heavens, and we're here. And we are here to use the earth as a gift as we please. Okay? So that we should not just judge this thinking from our own point of view today. We have to think how thousands of years ago this was a very important transformation of the consciousness, recognize that we are able to manifest, to create, to manipulate our environment, to be like God. So as I said, don't judge the past. It's something that happened. It was a change of consciousness that we had in that time, and the change was that if the sun, the moon, the stars are the ones telling me how to sow, how to harvest, maybe it's because the gods are telling us what to do with the earth. So if we are here living on earth, but we are ruled by the heavens, so our home is heaven, and we are here using this earth as a gift from the gods. So just think about for a moment in a very ancient way, if it is not so logical to think that if all the things that we are sowing and harvesting is related to the skies, the stars, the constellations, the sun, the moon, so maybe people would say, well, if I understand how this works, maybe I am from the heavens, so I am from there. So what I have to do is to use the earth as I please, because the gods are telling me how to use the earth. That was a common thought. So of course that is logic for a way of thinking, a way of thinking of a civilization that says if we come from the heavens and we are eternal like the stars, we just come to earth for just a moment, so we can use it as whatever we please. Okay, and that's it. And that's the main the main basis of all the religions that we have today. All the religions we have in our present, they came from this idea, and they still hold this idea. Huh? This is what originates the story of Adam and Eve in the Eden Garden, which is two people, one of them made up of clay, and the other one is life, that the giver of life, and they were using the garden as they please, free, eternal. That's it. But this is just the view of the people at the time. According to this way of thinking of agriculture, that we were able to manipulate this information, this ground, this land, we could handle the earth. So all the history of the last thousands of years has been humans creating civilizations to control the earth. So all the people were fighting for land, were fighting for a mountain. This is my territory, this is my limit, this is my ground. And they were fighting for this, creating the countries, then the companies, then the rulers of the earth, and then all these people started to think that the resources of their countries are for them, and they can use it as whatever they want. Okay, so this is what we are now. This is how we are using the resources of the earth because of that thought of the past. All of this has started because of a big group of people in the planet that started to look into the heavens, trying to go up, to go out, and just in the earth for just a moment. So now I want to make this thinking, this idea, that this same thing that I just explained is the same thing that we in the spirituality for the new age are exactly doing. Why is this? Because all the people that we usually speak about Gaia, we speak about Gaia as the spiritual aspect of the earth. And we say, oh, Gaia, and we work for Gaia. But Gaia is something that is in another dimension. And when we do that, is because we want to enlighten the planet in the fifth dimension, but because we don't want to be in the third dimension, because we want to enlighten ourselves, ascend to the fifth dimension, to leave this place and come back home to the stars with our families from the constellations. And that's exactly the same thing what people in the past did. The agricultures of that time, saying we have to go to the heavens because we are from there. So someday we have to leave the earth. I think that this reflection, how to say reflection? I don't know how to say it. This thinking that I am doing is good for us to do it, because we are doing exactly the same thing in the spiritual level as people that we criticize normally are doing. Like when we are saying the governments are killing the earth, or we have to protect Gaia, and all these things. But suddenly, when we speak about spirituality, we want to go to the fifth dimension and to leave the third dimension because it's really heavy, we suffer here, and so on. So in spirituality, we are exactly doing the same thing as all the people that we used to do, that we used to criticize, are doing. Okay? So we have to think very deep about this, because we are doing exactly the same thing as we did thousands of years before. And now pay attention to this. In only 3 days, we will start with Aquarius. And in Aquarius, we will go up there to the stars, to the innovation that the aliens brought to us, and all the weird things that were coming to this world. But in order to do that in a good way, we need to remember that we have to be with deep roots here on this planet. Otherwise, anything that comes from there will be useful for us here. Okay? So that's why we are speaking about all these things before. So that's the good thing of starting with Capricorn before Aquarius, because we need deep roots of the systems to be present here and now, so our branches can reach the heavens, the divinity. In order to be able to reach the heavens, we need to remember, before being part of the cosmos, now as humans, as this being that I am from Earth, and I am Earth itself. I am not a being living on the Earth. I am the Earth. So this means that human is to be Earth. And in order for me to reach the divinity, I have to go to the core of myself first, to connect to the heart of what I am. By gravity, I go deep into the core of the planet to be connected to the heart of who I am. And the quality of coming back to Earth is called humility, to be humble. Because humility, comes from the Latin word, the ability to come back to the ground, to the earth. That is to be human. Before we go to the expansion of other dimensions, to other levels of consciousness, we have to recognize that we are Earth. And how is that we are Earth? Because every cell of our body is made with things that we eat coming from Earth. The plants, the animals, everything that we eat, they are made of all these elements that we have been speaking about. Phosphorus, calcium, nitrogen, iron, all these elements from the ground comes to the plants and we eat it. So we are the result of the earth. We are Earth. So to understand who we are, first we have to be humble, to reconnect to the origin of who we are, which is this planet. In the Middle Ages, the concept of humble and poor was mixed. They were put together as one, but they are not the same thing. Why this was like this? Because the poor people were the workers of the fields, the agricultures. And they were poor because the government wanted for them to be, so they can have control of the products and lands. So religion created this idea that if you work with the earth, if you get dirt in the ground, in the mud, you will be humble, you will be related to the earth, and that makes you earning the heaven. So if you work the fields, you get dirt, you get humble, you will earn the heaven. That's how both things mixed. So this is how, for us today, we got this idea that to be humble is to not to have things, is to shut up, is to not show yourself. To be humble is to be quiet, not do anything, just work, don't have material things, try to be poor. So this concept of humility, to be humble, is the one that changed our history by saying, if you want to be rich, if you want to be successful in your life, you shouldn't be humble. You have to show yourself. You have to think, to have things. So you need to get away from the idea of poverty and to show yourself up. So this is what the companies, the famous people, the politicians, they were trying to do, to be successful people. And how people were imitating that by trying to earn money and to be successful in life, by leaving the fields, living away all the fields, the mountains, going to the cities to work in the factories, to try to compete in companies and all that. So it's related with our history of growth. So this is what separated us from the earth, and we started to look for being successful. And in religion and spirituality, we call this enlightenment and ascension. To ascend in a work, to ascend in dimension, the same concept. So the universe is like one big sphere that is expanding, but all this universe that is expanding has only one core that is related to every dot around. So if I want to look for who am I have to go to the core, to the center, and then expand again with consciousness. But if I just expand, I lose myself from coherence. So how do I find the closest core myself? That is the heart. And what is this? The closest core to the heart is the center of earth. So that's why the only way to go back to the self is by look into the earth, to be humble, to look into the earth and to realize that whatever I do to the earth, I am doing it to myself. So how can I connect myself with the earth? Again, by trying to understand from where the things that I eat come from. What are they made of? What are the nutrients that it's sharing with me? The information that they have for me, from where they come from, how they come from, how are they cultivated, what they have within. Understand the environment that makes us be what we are. As I said today, in order to connect with the higher information of the stars in Aquarius, I must have very deep roots on Earth. So that music that you listen outside is the Nubians, which is the culture south of Egypt, which are the black people from Egypt, and they had really beautiful culture, really beautiful music. So today is the last day that we stay here in Aswan, where they are mostly from here, and That's why they came to make a party with their music. So, one thing. Remember that tomorrow is the full moon. Uh, and because of this, we have to be prepared. So I invite you to go to my social media in Instagram, to see a little bit of what the explanations that Mercedes Arnús has done for us, Spanish and English. So you can see the video to see what is going on. So let's go to the information for today. The vibration for today is Do. The star today is I am the essence of the father pattern. The code for today is sodium. The sixth most abundant element in the terrestrial cortex is another fundamental one for life. Sodium, Na, is found mostly in oceans, and all those who have evolved from it use it for our life. In our bodies, sodium is necessary to generate the nervous impulses, equilibrium, cellular metabolism, and nutrient absorption. Being the biggest of the alkaline elements, it's useful to improve the operation of the body, for it dilutes acids in liquid mediums. So it's important to know about sodium. So right now, with all my pride of my Capricorn side, I will go out and to say to all of them, please silence, I'm working. And this is how a Capricorn side ruins a party. They will keep going for sure, but they are a little bit farther. Let's go to the alignment. Sit comfortable. As you start to take deep breaths, bring your attention to all your body by doing a soft massage to each part of it. As you breathe, use your imagination to design around you a huge land with fields. It can be a mountain, the plains, the shores of the ocean or a river. Designed this beautiful feel where you remember you felt more with your hands. Start to carry as you walk the plants growing in the fields, and you recognize that you're walking barefoot, feeling the wet earth, getting your feet dirt, as you walk. As I walk, I breathe, feeling peace in this sightseeing, observing the nature around me, myself connected to this ground, to the fields, being one with it. I become aware of the great truth as I walk the fields. This is the only thing that has never changed. This same field with plants are the same thing that was nourishing my ancestors thousands of years ago and feeding me today. The food that I eat is growing in these fields. All the minerals of the ground become plants. The plants are eaten by the animals. And all of them become part of the food that I eat, becoming my body. I am this field. I was, I am, and we eat. This is the only thing that has never changed. I am what I eat. I am earth. And is now when I decide to resignify the humiliation, the concept of bending yourself to the ground on your knees. Humiliation is to be defeated. Humiliation meditation is the action of coming back to the earth, observing it, and being attracted by its love. I knee in the ground, in this field. Take a deep breath. As I breathe, I put my hands on the wet land, feeling it in my hands. I recognize the quality of this earth that lives within me and that I call humility. I find myself being humble. And with my hands, I take this and I put it all over my face, my head, and entire body, recognizing myself as human. Is this way in which I humiliate my ego to find my ability to be humble, so I can recognize that I am human. And this ego is made up with the patterns that construct the structure of who I am. The father of purpose of myself. And I recognize that the goal of the father is to sow the seed in the mother. I take with my hands now something in exchange, taking all my turns, creating a seed that I will sow in the mother earth from the inner of the father in me. And I activate it. I am the essence of the father pattern. I am the essence of the father pattern. I am the essence of the father pattern. I am the sowing. I am the agriculture of worlds. Take a deep breath in each one at one time. Come back here and now. Thank you everybody for being there. And as always, see you tomorrow at the same time.